In this real estate news brief for multipliers, dated December 17th, 2020, stimulus plan approval only days away, folks, maybe even 1 day away, possibly even a few hours away. Many Americans surprised with tax implications, tenants who own back rent, surge in new jobless claims, and vaccinations for COVID-19 finally begin. I'm Jonathan Smith, and this is real estate news for multipliers. What's up, everyone? Yesterday, in case you didn't know, yesterday was the last day to use standard ground shipping to receive a package by December the 24th for UPS, FedEx, and the US Postal Service. So if you plan on buying your Christmas gifts online, then you either A, need to know it's not gonna get there in time, or B, you're gonna have to pay for expedited shipping, or C, like your boy here, you're gonna need to go to actual retail store to buy your gifts. So don't make the mistake and assume that the package will be delivered, because if you're doing it now before Christmas, it's not gonna get there. I'm sorry to say, but it's not gonna get there. Go to the store, I'm going there tonight, and make sure you get your gifts. Now, I know this is not the best transition, but I've got to transition into a little bit more of a looming trend that many say will surprise and impact millions of people. Drum roll please, taxes. Tax season is not really on the horizon, but here's what is. Millions of people, Americans, might be in for a shock come next April. And I don't want you, the listeners of this channel, to get off guard, nor if you're a real estate advisor like myself, I don't want your clients to get caught off guard. So if you've been collecting unemployment benefits, you may not know that the income made from that is not yours to keep in full, even though I know you wish you were. You have to pay federal income taxes on that income, even though those taxes are not automatically withheld. There was a recent survey done, and that survey says 38% of respondents said they didn't know that unemployment benefits were even taxable. In fact, 61% of those same respondents hadn't withheld or set aside money from their unemployment pay for their 2020 income taxes. Many who are used to receiving a tax refund might actually owe money this time around if they didn't withhold. That's what that means. Now, if you're in mortgage forbearance, this caution is also relevant since many homeowners have their taxes paid through their mortgage servicer. Many experts believe that we could have a housing dilemma when many who chose forbearance get a tax bill they weren't expecting. I mentioned this on a prior video, folks. If you are paying your taxes via your mortgage servicer through escrowed funds, please make sure you have funds there. Please also make sure that your servicer is paying those, because if not, guess what? You're gonna have to pay those, and better set aside funds now so that you can do that. Sorry, my printer is printing, and forgive the background noise. On to stimulus. If all goes according to the bipartisan plan, which I feel like we've been saying for weeks and months, if all goes according to plan, I understand this. But if it does, Congress will approve a new stimulus plan on Thursday or Friday of this week, which is today or tomorrow. Senators Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin are touting the power of negotiating in good faith to the Washington Post, which is good news these days. On Wednesday morning, congressional leaders put the possibility of stimulus checks back on the table. And also, according to the Post, quote, slashing aid for states and cities from the emerging deal would free up close to $160 billion in funds that could be used for direct payments. Using this pool of money, lawmakers would be able to pay for stimulus checks that are roughly half the size of the $1,200 checks approved in March, or $600 per person. But discussions were ongoing on Capitol Hill about the exact size of the payments. This is one of the things that is being negotiated probably right now as we speak, is how much checks, how big they will be, and how soon we can expect them. Now, transitioning to economic news from this past week that's been impacted by a pandemic that is growing worse and an impasse on badly needed stimulus that's way overdue. The latest report of jobless claims show a surge in new claims due to the pandemic. They rose to a 3-month high to 850,000 last week. That follows a previous drop in claims during Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, so the new numbers could have included those that followed later due to the holidays. Now, on a positive note, according to the Labor Department, the number of available jobs rose in October from 6.49 to 6.65 million. 5.8 million people were hired in October. That's good news. Consumer prices, they are rising, but they still sit well below the 2% target of inflation. The consumer price index is still at 1.2%, but by way of comparison, it was 2.3% before the pandemic. Consumer sentiment, it hit a new high in the pandemic for December. The University of Michigan says it's up to 81 thanks to democratic euphoria, not euphoria over the election. I can't speak today, everybody. I'm just too excited for Christmas. MarketWatch is calling this a Biden boost. Now, let's cut to mortgage rates. Average hasn't moved much, really rarely at all. Fannie Mae says there was no change in 30-year fixed rate. Average is 2.71%, and the 15-year is 2.26%. In other news, almost 12 million renters will owe more than $5,000 in back rent and utilities in just a few weeks when the federal eviction moratorium is lifted. Without some form of relief, many will face eviction when the moratorium is over. Economists say that Congress need to pass, and everybody, by the way, Congress has got to pass a new stimulus package, but talks remain deadlocked. Now, in the current stimulus plan, we've talked about this, there's $60 billion earmarked for rental assistance. So if you watched my 21-year prediction, I said that if we don't get stimulus, we're likely going to see a V-shaped recovery and adjustment in the market. I think where stimulus talks are now, I don't anticipate us seeing that. I think there's going to be a bit of a balanced market moving forward, but this danger still looms in the distance. Meantime, the vaccine rollout begins, but the experts are saying it could be several months before enough people are vaccinated to control the pandemic and get people back to work. Let's conclude with what some of the economists at the National Association of Realtors say about the economy, namely that it has regained about 12.3 million jobs, but another 9.3 million are needed to hit our country's goal. NAR's chief economist Lawrence Yun says the housing market has been soaring despite the subdued job market due to record low mortgage rates. But he added the rates won't fall further in his estimation, so the job recovery becomes even more important to sustain home buying. Folks, this now concludes the brief for real estate news for multipliers. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you navigate and multiply and protect your wealth through real estate. And until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.